Billy Wolff, you're finishing up tracking on your latest album, Thread Matrix.
Right.
Well, tell us what we can expect and look forward to on Thread Matrix.
Well, my little mission in life is to show that the blues and jazz are incontrovertibly mixed up together. It's almost like you can't play jazz without playing the blues. To me, that concept is like trying to eat a T-bone steak without meat. Just doesn't happen. And in this album, I've incorporated a significant amount of bottleneck guitar. My roots are in Delta blues and Chicago type blues, and I really enjoy playing bottleneck guitar, but I enjoy playing it on tunes that have more extended harmonies. For example, I can play 13th chords with a raised 11th on the bottleneck, which is something I've never heard people do before. So I can go between, fairly interesting jazz harmonies to, straight ahead Delta type harmonies, and it also feels, rhythmic feels. And to me, it's seamless. So that's my little mission in life. In terms of my writing, I like to write stuff that's interesting for players to play, that has interesting chord changes, and I like to use elements like, of course, intros versus choruses, and also interludes, breakdowns, and other compositional type variations that make the material interesting for a player, and yet I leave open space, plenty of open space, for the great players that I've got on this record to stretch out a bit. We've got Russ Ferranti on keyboards, Jimmy Haslip on bass, and Will Kennedy on drums, and I play guitars. Another keyboard player is my old friend Grant Johnson. Grant and I have been playing together since we were kids, since we were teenagers. So on some tunes there are two keyboards, one guy playing synth and the other guy playing piano. And as I said, I'm playing regular guitar and bottleneck guitar, and then we're going to have Tom Scott on woodwinds. I also have a percussionist named Brad Dutz, very, very fine percussionist. And then on a couple of the tunes, I have 3 tenor saxophones, and Tom is going to play all 3 parts on those. And then there are 2 tunes that have actual horn sections. One of them consists of trumpet, tenor sax, trombone, and baritone sax. And then another one called Moving Parts. The lead is in soprano sax, and beneath him is a brass quartet that consists of flugelhorn, 2 French horns, and trombone. And that tune is in 7/4 time, and it's an homage to one of my favorite Cannonball Adderley tunes called 74 Miles Away. Actually, I think that tune was written by Joe Zawinul, but it's on a Cannonball album called 74 Miles Away. And I've wanted to play that tune for many, many years, but I happen to have this fragment laying around from a film scoring class that I took at UCLA Extension. And I just converted it to 7/4 and figured out a little bass lick to go in 7/4, and that's how this tune came together. Those are the ingredients that I use, and also I've got bottleneck guitar going on that one also. So it's a pretty wild combination that I would be quite amazed if anybody else has ever done it before. There are 9 tunes on the record. I've written 8 of them. And I also did all the arrangements. There's a 9th tune that's written by Grant, the keyboard player. Beautiful tune that's in 11, and it came from a rock opera that he and my wife wrote, and this tune features a riff in 11 that's the kind of foundation of the tune, and I first heard it about 40 years ago, and I have not been able to get it out of my head, and nobody else has either. Anybody who hears this lick, it's with them for the rest of their lives. It's just so magnetic and infectious. That's the 9th tune on the record. It's called This Is the City. I did write and arrange all the material myself, with the exception of This Is the City, which Grant wrote. And I did produce it myself, but Jeff Gillette, my engineer, is actually a co-producer, and he'll be listed as such on the record. He was the one who connected me with various players from the Yellow Jackets. Jeff and I go back many, many years, and I know him through a drummer named Kevin Kelly, an old friend of mine who played with the Byrds for a while. And he was our mutual connection between me and Jeff. So I've known Jeff also for many, many years.